Becoming rich is like a game, and in order to succeed, you must know the rules. In fact, the better you understand and use the rules in your favor, the faster you'll become ridiculously wealthy. Therefore, in this video, I will share with you the 7 rules of money. Welcome to Savvy, where we make life-changing content 5 times a week. Hit the like and subscribe button to build a better you. Let me tell you a story of Jack, of how he not only learned the 7 rules of money and how he was able to use these rules to quit his boring job and have a new lease in life as a world traveler. Meet Jack. Jack is a 32-year-old human resources manager at a mid-sized company situated in Detroit, or at least he was when he chose to file his resignation letter. We look back 10 years ago when Jack was breaking his back looking at paper day in and day out. He was always up early in the morning, dreading going to work, clinging to the hope that he would one day retire. Sadly, he wasn't the best at managing his finances, so being able to retire when he could live peacefully seems like a dream. One day, he was introduced to a new colleague named Drew. Drew was hired as an IT consultant for the company. He was a gray-haired man in his 50s, and he always seemed to have a smile on his face. During their lunch break that day, Jack passed by Drew sitting alone in the lunchroom. He pondered why the man was always cheerful and left him to eat alone. Every single day that week, Jack noticed that Drew always had that smile despite eating alone. He finally had the guts to ask Drew why he always had a smile on. Jack sat beside him and introduced himself again to Drew and mentioned he was puzzled on why he was always smiling. Drew grinned and said there was a lot to be happy about. Jack didn't take this for an answer and asked Drew to explain further. So he began to rant to Drew on how he had to force himself to go to work as a boring human resources manager. Then Drew revealed that being an IT consultant was his second career that he took on after he retired years ago. Jack was puzzled on how Drew was able to retire and was able to study again in college to become an IT consultant. So he asked Drew to continue his story. Drew told Jack that he retired at age 40, took some time off to travel, and finished his studies on IT. Drew can tell that Jack was amazed at his story, but admitted that he was just like Jack when he was younger. He told Jack that he used to work as an office clerk in California, and while he made good money, it wasn't worth the effort. Jack was actively listening to Drew's story and asked how he was able to retire at such a young age. Drew then uttered a phrase that would change Jack's understanding of the world forever. I learned the 7 rules of money. Drew said that he normally does not share this secret, but since Jack was kind enough to sit with him at lunch this entire week, he would be more than happy to share his knowledge with him. Jack was ecstatic, and Drew began with rule number 1. Rule number 1. Pay yourself first. Drew explained that most people want to save but simply never get through it. In fact, 1 in 6 people said that in a 2017 survey that they simply couldn't find the time to set up a savings plan. Drew further explained that even with the best intentions, unforeseen expenses arrive, and without knowing how much you can save, you can never know how much you can spend. Drew explained that more than 60% of Americans do not have any type of budgeting, which hinders their ability to save. This lack of financial oversight and poor wages result in over 3/4 of Americans lives from paycheck to paycheck, leaving little to no chance of savings. Drew admitted that he too was a part of this circle until he did a few tricks. The first was the 20-30-50 method. The 20-30-50 method works as follows. Every month, you divide your paycheck into the following way. 20% is on living expenses like rent and utilities. 30% goes to your wants, like going out to restaurants, clothes, and entertainment. The remaining 50% is meant to go to your savings account. Drew explained that designating part of his income before that month started helped him have an estimate of how much he can save. But some months, because of unforeseen expenses, he saved up less than the speculated amount. Then he learned the second trick, automated deductions. Drew explained to Jack that automated deductions work in the specified way. Every 2 weeks, part of your paycheck is sent directly into a savings account instead of the whole going into the checking account. Drew explained that putting money into an account that you can't access ensures that you don't touch the money allocated to savings, and in turn lets him save hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of his time as an office clerk. Rule number 2. Saving will never make you rich. While Drew presented himself as a big advocate in saving money, he then admitted that saving money is not enough to be rich. Drew also explained that saving money hinders its ability to grow, as the typical savings account only pays 0.09% interest. That means that even if you have $10,000 in your savings account, you would get back a measly $9 in 1 year. And if you add inflation rate of 2% into the mix, you actually might be losing money instead of making money. Drew then asserted the idea of investing. He explained that he was lucky to have learned of compound interest at an early age. And when he was ages 18 to 40, he invested $250 per week. Every single week during that 22-year span, he received an average return of 10%. And by the time he was 40, he already was a millionaire, of which $750,000 was a result of the compound interest that he had earned. And it is only possible because of his wise spending ways. Rule number 3. You must live below your means. Drew elaborated that this rule may seem obvious, but most people today have a hard time following it. Today, we live in a materialistic world where we care more about how people perceive us through the things we have rather than saving for retirement. And these petty decisions often have us spend more than what we earn. The hard truth, if we want to achieve financial freedom, is to spend less than we earn and put away the difference. By putting away this money opens up many advantages that having money stashed in the bank provides. First of all, having a lump sum of money set aside can give you the peace of mind that can negate the anxiety of any financial trouble along the way. Moreover, you can use that money to open up businesses that may double or triple your income as it grows. Lastly, it also opens up the opportunity to invest and build up a financial nest egg that makes you set for life. Rule number 4. You must have emergency funds. Drew explained that one of the least exciting but more important features of your financial health is having an emergency fund set up. Drew stressed to Jack that if he had no emergency fund set up, that he had to make one as soon as possible. While Drew explained that having money stashed up into a savings account wasn't the best way to make money, he said that it is absolutely acceptable to have the money on hand in a checking or savings account. Drew could tell that Jack wasn't enthusiastic about this money rule, so Drew stressed the importance of the emergency fund. He explained that a few years ago, his daughter became very sick and was in the hospital for 3 months. Drew didn't know if she'd be able to recover from her illness, so he took a leave from work to spend every day with her at the hospital. Luckily, she was able to pull through and made a full recovery. But being able to an emergency fund was crucial in their time of need. Therefore, Drew advised Jack to put a year's worth of expenses aside in case he had his own problems to attend to. Rule number 5. Use debt wisely. Drew went on to explain that one of the keys in becoming rich is to avoid accumulating debt. Some purchases like buying a home or taking a degree are difficult enough to make sure you are not going into debt, but these are generally regarded as good debt since they are investments that may increase your net worth. Other assets, Drew explained, do not increase in value, so you end up taking a double hit: interest and depreciation. He explained that while everybody wants a flashy car, it is one of the worst assets that you could go into debt for, as it depreciates in value very quickly, and interest can be very pricey. Drew explained the general rule of thumb for buying any depreciating asset is that you can either buy it in cash or buy a cheaper one. Rule number 6. The more you learn, the more you earn. Drew explained that this was his motto in life, which is why he actively takes on the challenge to learn new things. He admitted that he wasn't always an avid learner. But as he learned from his idol, Warren Buffett, who reads 5 hours a day, he realized that he must make reading a routine as it allowed him to learn new ideas, concepts, and opened his mind to numerous possibilities. Jack wasn't much of a reader, but he asked Drew for book suggestions to help him grow. Drew explained that non-fiction books about social skills, business development, and economics will give Jack a head start. Rule number 7. Money won't make you happy. After going to the previous 6 rules, Jack asserted that he couldn't wait to use these rules and have a life worth living. Drew laughed as he knew the truth about money that Jack had yet to realize. Drew explained that money can only buy happiness when it is spent correctly. To get to this point, Drew had to explain why spending money doesn't make us happier. You see people buy stuff that they think will make them happy, be it the latest phone or the newest clothes, but the fact is, material happiness does not last. Sooner or later, the novelty of the items you bought wears off, and you are forced to buy a new one until you are stuck in this cycle of buying new things every now and then. Drew asserted that we are better off spending money on things that will bring us longer-lasting happiness. For instances, buying your parents their dream home, as seeing them live comfortably will make you happy as you have fulfilled a lifelong dream for them. Therefore, money can buy you happiness only if spent correctly. Jack walked away from that lunch optimistic, and from that point onwards, he assured himself that he would use the 7 rules of money to become financially independent and quit his job traveling the world. Thanks for watching! If you like this video, then please subscribe as we are uploading new videos 4 to 5 times per week.